I'm not claiming to be an expert on Iran, but there are some things that are so obvious that anybody ought to be able to see them. This whole idea of attacking Iran that's being pushed by the right-wing Israelis and the right-wing American politicians, frankly, it could lead us into the biggest nightmare we have ever seen in the Middle East. Just for starters, you look at Fukushima, and you look at what happened at Fukushima, the amount of land that has been radiated, the amount of people that have been displaced, the radiation flowing into the ocean that apparently is still flowing. There's a lot of stuff that we have not heard about. And we don't know the full extent of what the damage is going to be long-term from Fukushima. That was only a partial meltdown. Just imagine if we had bombed, or somebody had bombed, Fukushima and caused a complete meltdown. Then think about this idea of bombing the Iranian nuclear facilities. We're talking about multiple Fukushimas, each one worse than the actual Fukushima because they will be complete, not partial meltdowns. Radiation will spread throughout the Middle East. It will probably spread to parts of Europe, and it may very well come over here to the United States. We don't know where the radiation may flow eventually. I don't know what the half-life of that radiation is, but I recently saw an IBAW piece that said that depleted uranium has a half-life of 4.5, I can't recall if it was million or billions of years. Billions, okay. So, these are the consequences that we're talking about just from the bombing alone. Then you consider the fact that if we bomb their nuclear facilities, Iran would have no choice but to respond in some way. They will have to counterattack in some way just to save face. Think about it. Terrorist attacks, missile attacks, they do have medium-range missiles, engaging our forces on the sea, who knows what could happen. Then, inevitably, we will respond again. What are we going to do? Are we going to have night raids in the middle of Iran? The night raids in Afghanistan are already pissing people off. The drone attacks in Pakistan are already pissing people off. They are taking people who at one time may have been sympathetic to us and turning them against us. The idea that night raids or drone attacks can win a war has been disproven both in Pakistan and in Afghanistan. In fact, it is causing us to lose the war, both wars, at an accelerated pace. So if we think that we can use drone attacks or night raids in Iran and have some kind of effect, what's most likely based on past experience is that it will boomerang and will make the situation worse. It will unite, it's one thing that could potentially unite the dissidents and the various fundamentalist factions in Iran that are in fact already fighting among themselves. So, in that case, what are we going to do? Are we going to invade and try to knock off the regime the way we knocked off Saddam? And then are we going to occupy it? Iran is 3 times the size of Iraq, both in population and in geographical size. And in fact, Colonel Ann Wright, recently said on KPFA that it was 4 times the size, both in size, in geographical size, and in population. Their population is highly educated, highly intelligent, would be capable of mounting a fierce resistance. They also have cities, like Iraq, and they have mountains, like Afghanistan. So you take the worst aspects of the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, you multiply by 3, you add in fighting and operating in a nuclear environment. You add in potentially destabilizing the whole Middle East. You add in the fact that the war in Iraq, the war in Afghanistan, and the war in Pakistan has already drained America financially, has already bled our military dry, and then you multiply that by 3 and by 10 years if we fight for another 10 years there. This could be the death blow to America as we knew it. Osama bin Laden, when he was alive, when he first launched the war by striking us on 9/11, he said publicly that his plan was to do to us what he did to the Soviet Union, to basically engage us in a long war, bleed us dry, both in terms of blood and in terms of treasure, and cause us to fall. He may be dead, but his plan has already been working. If we invade Iran, we are simply taking Osama bin Laden's plan for destroying America and multiplying it by 3 and by 10. This could be the death blow of America as we know it. The hawks, both in Israel and in America, are lunatics. From a strictly military standpoint, their plan is insane. From a financial viewpoint, their plan is insane. From a political viewpoint, their plan is insane. So I just want everybody in America and the world to be aware of this. We are at a critical situation. If you look at American intelligence reports issued over the last few years, what you see is American intelligence reports disagree with each other. And when you hear things coming out of different administrations, including the Obama administration, you hear different people saying different things. What does this mean? It means that even within the American power establishment, there are disagreements. There are some people who are completely delusional and think that America is somehow so powerful that we can win and defeat anybody. They're the ones that want to attack Iran. There are others who are hardcore realists who recognize this would be a nightmare. And they realize that to make an attack on Iran would be insane. So, this is a time when the American public and the American peace movement can make a difference. When at the very top of the halls of power, there is disagreement, and if we can raise the political cost of attacking Iran high enough, there is a chance that we can deter such an attack and we can turn American policy in a more peaceful direction. Thank you.